Now in your previous class, children, you might have learnt that all the living organisms, they are made up of cells. And what are cell? Cell is the basic unit of life. Now cells, children, they perform various functions in an organized manner. That is, all the cells, they can perform different kinds of functions but in a well organized manner. Now a group of these similar cells which perform same kind of functions, when they come together, they form a tissue. So in this chapter, we are going to learn about tissue. Now all the living body, whether plant or animals, they are all composed of tissues. Now in this chapter, we are first going to learn about plant tissues and then about animal tissues. So starting with plant tissues. Plant tissues, they are basically found in the roots, stems and leaves. Now what are these roots, stems and leaves? They are the parts of a plant. So we can say that all the plants, they are made up of plant tissue. Now plant tissue are basically of two types, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissues are those tissues which are capable of division. That is, they can divide and grow in size and shape. Whereas the permanent tissues, they do not divide. They do not grow in shape and size. So in detail now we are going to study about these two different types of tissues. Meristematic tissues, they are of three types. They are subdivided: apical meristematic tissue, lateral meristematic tissue, intercalary meristematic tissue. Then we move on to permanent tissue. Permanent tissues are of two types: simple tissue, complex tissue. Simple tissue are again of three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. And complex tissue are of two types: xylem and phloem. So now in detail we are going to study about each kind of tissue. Meristematic tissue. Meristematic tissues, they are made up of young actively dividing cells. That is, children, their cells can continuously divide and which finally results in the growth of the plant. Now this word meristem, it is derived from the Greek word which is meristos, and meristos means divisible. So we can say that meristematic tissues are the tissues which continuously divide and which results in active growth of the plant. Now let us see what are the main characteristics of the meristematic tissue. The cells of these tissue, they are small and closely packed with little or no intercellular space between them. That is, they do not have any space between them, or you can say that the space is very less between the cells. These cells have thin cell wall. The cells have large and conspicuous nuclei surrounded by abundant cytoplasm. Now they have a fluid filled in between which is known as cytoplasm. So the cells of these meristematic tissues, they are filled up of a fluid known as cytoplasm. The cells are without vacuoles. They do not have vacuoles. The cells actively divide to add new cells. These cells, they continuously divide and redivide to form new cells. Meristematic tissues, now let us see where are they found. They are found, children, on the growing regions of the plant. And what are the growing region? The tip of the roots and the stems. So these are the places, the tips of the roots and the stems, where you will find meristematic tissues. Now based on their position in the plant body, meristematic tissues are again divided into three categories: apical meristematic tissue, lateral meristematic tissue and intercalary meristematic tissue. First we will learn about apical meristematic tissue. Apical meristematic tissues are located near the tips of roots and shoots. So they are basically found on the tips of the roots and the shoots. The roots and shoots, you have seen, they continuously increase in their length. This vertical growth is also known as primary growth, and this increase of the length of the plant upwards and downwards is known as primary growth. And the example for this is the growth in the height of the tree. This is the example. So apical meristem, they are basically responsible for the growth of the roots and shoots in their height. Now next is lateral meristem. Lateral meristem, they are basically present on the sides of the stems and roots, children, on the sides, on the lateral parts. Okay, so they are basically responsible for secondary growth of the plant, and this secondary growth is the growth on the lateral sides of the plant. Example for this is growth of a tree trunk in girth, that is when the plant increases in its width, then we call it as growth of the girth. Okay, now lateral meristem, children, are of two types: vascular cabium and cork cabium. Vascular cabium is the first type of lateral meristem, and it is located basically along the length of the roots and the stem. The cabium is responsible for the production of cells and tissues that increase the thickness of the plant. So we can say that vascular cabium is basically responsible for the thickness of the plant. The second type of cabium, or you can say the lateral meristem, is cork cabium. This cork cabium, it runs along the length of the roots and the stems again as the vascular cabium, but the difference is that it is only found in woody plants, as it produces the outer bark of the plant. The next we move on is intercalary meristem. Intercalary meristem, they are basically found in the monocots, like in the grasses. The related plants that do not have a vascular cabium or a cork cabium, the plants in which these two types of cabium are missing, that is vascular and cork, there you will find intercalary meristem. And where are they found? They are found in the areas of leaf attachment called nodes. That is where the nodes are present, there these intercalary meristems are present. They have intercalary meristem tissue. This meristem also actively produces new cells and is responsible for the increase in length at the internodes. Now what is internode, children? It is the gap or the space between two leaves. From where the leaves arise, the gap between the place where the leaf is arising, that gap is known as internodes. Now here our activity is shown. Let us see what this activity shows. We will take two glass jars and fill them up with water. Now we will place two onion bulbs in each of the glass jar. And as you can see in the figure, same way you are going to put the onion. Now every day we are going to measure the increase in the length of the roots. Okay. Now after 5 days, what we are going to do? We are going to cut the roots of the jar 2 onion. We are going to cut the roots, about 1 centimeter of the roots we are going to cut. And then again we are going to compare the growth after 2 days. What will you observe? You will observe that roots in jar 1 continue to grow, whereas the roots in jar 2 stop growing. Now why this has happened? That the growth in jar 2 has stopped. This is because when we have cut the roots, we have cut apical meristem along with the roots, which are totally responsible for the growth of the roots. So that is why the roots have stopped growing in jar 2, because we have cut down apical meristems from the roots. Okay. Permanent tissue. Now permanent tissues are the tissues which develop from the new cells formed by the meristematic tissues. That is, when the meristematic tissues, they divide and divide, then they form permanent tissues. These permanent tissues or new cells formed, they are elongated, that means they are long in size, mature, and get differentiated into various permanent tissues. So these various permanent tissues, children, they have been differentiated according to the functions they perform, and they do not further divide. That only we learn, children, that meristematic tissues, they divide, and permanent tissues, they do not divide. So permanent tissues, after a certain period of time or after attaining maturity, they stop dividing. Now permanent tissues are further divided into two categories. First is simple permanent tissue, and then we are going to learn about complex permanent tissue. Starting with simple permanent tissue. Now simple permanent tissue, the cells, they provide protection and support to the plant. This is their main function. Simple permanent tissue are further divided into two categories, that is dermal tissue and ground tissue. Starting with the dermal tissue. Dermal tissue, they consist of cells which have thick cell wall. These cells are found on the surface of the roots. Now these dermal cells, children, you will find them on the surface of roots, stem and leaves. And they are present over there in order to protect them. This protective layer of cells is also called epidermis. So these the layer of these cells, dermal cells, they are known as epidermis. And where do you find these cells? You will find these cells on the layer of the leaves containing stomata that allow the exchange of gases take place. Then they are found on the stem of the leaves and they secrete a waxy coating which is called cuticle that helps the plants to retain water and prevent it from drying out. This cuticle, children, it forms a layer, a waxy coating over the leaves and over the stems of the plant, which does not allow water to move out from the stomata. So this is how it prevents it from drying out. Then next is ground tissue. Now ground tissue, it forms the bulk of the plant body. That is, it forms the main part of the plant body. And what is the function of this ground tissue? The function is it synthesizes food, it stores food, regeneration and the provision of support and protection to the plants. Now these ground tissues, they are basically divided into three categories: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. Starting with parenchyma. Parenchyma tissues, they are made up of parenchyma cells and they are found in most abundant, that is, they are present in large amount in the plant and they are found in almost all major parts of the higher plants. Parenchyma cells are basically spherical in shape and they are first made, that is, these are the cells which were first developed. Okay, they have thin walls which flatten at the point of contact when many cells are packed together. Here you can see in the diagram, children, these are parenchyma cells. Okay, now these cells, they have large vacuoles. There are large vacuoles you can see present over here. They have large vacuoles inside them. Now some parenchyma cells, they contain a pigment known as chloroplast. This pigment, chloroplast, they are basically found in the leaves. This type of tissue is called chlorenchyma. The parenchyma which contains chloroplasts are known as chlorenchyma. And what is their function? Their function is basically to help in photosynthesis. That is, they perform photosynthesis for the plant. Then parenchyma tissues without chloroplasts are generally used for storing of food and water. Parenchyma cells and tissues, they comprise most of the edible portion of a fruit. That is, the fruit which you consume, children, the portion which you eat. Edible portion means the portion that is eaten. That edible portion of the fruit is basically made up of parenchyma. Next we move on to second kind of ground tissue, that is collenchyma. Now collenchyma tissue is made up of collenchyma cells. These cells, they have living protoplasm like parenchyma cells and may also stay alive for a long period of time. That is, they contain protoplasm which is living, which is not dead, that is living, as in case of parenchyma. So they can live for a long period of time. The cell wall is made up of cellulose. Their cell wall is basically thick and it is made up of cellulose. Collenchyma cells are found just beneath the epidermis. Here you can see in the diagram, children, these are collenchyma tissues. And they are found below the epidermis of the plant. They are elongated and their walls are pliable in addition to being strong. That is, their walls are very strong. This is the reason why these collenchyma cells, they provide flexible support for organs such as leaves and flower parts. It also provides mechanical strength and elasticity to the leaf and stem. So these cells, the collenchyma cells or the collenchyma tissues, they are basically responsible for providing mechanical strength to the plants. Next we move on to sclerenchyma. Now sclerenchyma tissues, they are made up of sclerenchyma cells. These cells, they have thick and tough cell wall. At maturity, most sclerenchyma cells are dead. That is, they are the dead cells which are found inside the plant. Now let us see what is their function. Their main function is to support the plant. So these sclerenchyma children, they are again of two types, scleretes and fibers. First we are going to study about scleretes. Scleretes, they are small, oval and irregular in shape. They are generally as long as they are wide. So you can say that their length and their width are same. Now you can find them in the pear. You might have seen that pear, it has a gritty texture. That is, it has some roughness over its skin. So that gritty texture of the pear is because of the presence of scleretes. The grittiness is due to the group of sclerete cells which are found inside the pear. The next is fibers. Now fibers, they are sometimes found in association with a wide variety of tissue in roots, stem and leaf. They are found inside the stems, inside the leaves, inside the fruits and also inside the roots. They are basically responsible for providing strength to the plant. They have a very tiny cavity in the center of the cell. They have pointed ends. Fibers are used in the manufacture of textile, rope, string and canvas goods. You might have seen children jute. That jute rope is made up of fiber which is found inside the plants, and that fiber is made up of these cells. Next we move on to complex permanent tissue. Now complex permanent tissues are the tissues which are made up of more than one type of cells, and their main function is to conduct water and minerals inside the plants. They are also known as conducting tissues and they are also known as vascular tissues. Okay, so they are basically of two types, xylem and phloem. Xylem tissue are found in the roots, stem and leaves. This tissue is composed of thick wall tubular cells. The cells, they are dead at maturity. That is, these cells, they are finally dead when they become mature. And these cells, they are arranged one on top of the other in the form of a tube-like structure. You can see over here, they form a long pipe-like structure which helps to transport water and dissolved minerals absorbed by the roots to the leaves. That is, they help in transport of water and minerals from the roots to the different parts of the plants, basically to the leaves. The next is phloem. Now phloem tissue, it is also found in the roots, stems and leaves. It is composed of thin walled tubular cells. The cells in this are also in form of a tube. They are lined one on top of the other and they form a tube-like structure. Phloem, it transports food which is synthesized by the leaves. That is, the food which is made inside the leaves, that is transferred or that is transported, you can say, from the leaves to different direction, that is upwards and downwards both throughout the plant. So this is the function of phloem. Now let's quickly go through a table where we can see the difference between xylem and phloem. Xylem, it is primarily made up of dead cells. Phloem is made up of living cells. Xylem has thick cell wall and phloem, it has thin cell wall. Xylem, it transports water and minerals from the roots to leaves, that is in the upward direction. Phloem, it transports dissolved food from the leaves to all the parts of the plant, that is, it transports in both the direction, upward as well as downwards.